Brief opening statement, and we'll open for questions.
Sure, yeah, opening statement. Obviously, I'm honored. It's never easy in this profession to deal with change. But, as a young coach, when I got into this business, I was exposed to it early. And you kind of learn that this is what you get into. I want to give unbelievable gratitude to Mike New and what he has provided for myself and my family. I grew up idolizing the guy, being a Ball State athlete myself, over in the old facility at Worthen, seeing his picture up on the wall and hearing about his stories from as a champion. I've always looked up to him. There's a great story I tell where I was playing in the Arena League and we were playing in the AF2 championship game, and I looked up in the stands and I saw Mike New, and it was recognizable like that. And I was so excited to be able to play in front of a Ball State alum that it achieved so much. So it's been a dream here to be able to work underneath him. And I don't take that for granted, everything I've learned from him and the opportunities I've been given because of him. So I wish him well. But the opportunity that I have here is unbelievable. I thank Jeff Mitchell for trusting this program and the leadership to me. It's something I will not take for granted. Like I mentioned, being a Ball State alum and a former football athlete, this place means a lot to me. And I want, just like any one of our Ball State fans, to see it have great success, long-lasting success. And that's what this program deserves. So I'm going to do everything in my power here over the course of the next 2 weeks, starting with this week, to see to it that this program stays on track and has success here, especially on Saturday.
We know that you were announced as the interim on Saturday, and that there was a team meeting that morning. Mm-hmm. When did you first find out that you were, that Mike was going to be let go and that you were going to step in?
It was 7:45. We had a staff meeting, and Mike came in and broke the news to us and thanked us. It was emotional. And when he left the office, I immediately went to his office and I gave him a big hug, told him thank you. And shortly after that, I walked into my office and I noticed I had a text message from Jeff Mitchell asking me to give him a call. So I called him back, and he asked me if I would be willing to lead this team for the next 2 weeks. And, it was this feeling of all the feelings that you get when faced with something new. Am I ready for this? Is this something I can do? Is this the right thing to do? And luckily, quickly, the voice in my head said, "You're ready for this." So I told him absolutely, and I'm ready to get to work.
When the voice in your head told you, I'm ready for this, what is it that told you that and made you feel confident in that?
It's years of being a part of it. You're never really prepared for your first head coaching job. I can't imagine if I went back, some of my roots is in the Division III world. And if I was to take a first head coaching job at the Division III level, how are you ever truly really ready for it? You're getting ready to take young men who are so impressionable, starting their careers in perhaps what is one of the most important times in their lives, because they're trying to figure it out on their own, away from their family and where they're from. It's a big responsibility to lead. But every level I've ever been at, I've been looked at as a leader. I don't shy away from that. In high school football, I was a team captain. Certainly here at Ball State, I was one of our team captains. I was on a leadership council. I've had to lead at every step, everywhere I've been. And certainly when you're the offensive line coach, it's a big leadership position. You're coaching the largest unit on the field. So it's something I feel like I've always been prepared to do. It's not something that doesn't come natural. I think as long as you put your faith in doing the right thing, putting others first, and making sure that everybody's accounted for, you can go to sleep at night feeling like you did the right job.
Jeff told us that one of the biggest reasons why he chose you as interim was how well you relate to the players. First, I'll just ask, I assume you've talked to the entire team. Mm-hmm. How did that conversation go, and kind of what has the atmosphere surrounding the players been?
Well, I've talked to the team, and I've talked to the leadership council. And I get the sense that I have 100% support. And I've always have relayed to these guys that you are me, I am you. Everything you guys go through every single day on this campus, I've gone through it. I've sat in the same seats, I put on the same jersey. It's so to me, I don't take it lightly that I'm here. I'm here for a reason. I'm here to relate to these guys. I'm here to lead these guys. And you know, over the years, I've never shied away from telling them that. And the way I interact with them, you know, I try not to interact with them as someone who's standing over them. I'm right here in the fight with you, man. And that's the way I learned. So to me, these kids are my brothers, right? And when you share a bond like that, I think it's important to not only myself, but also to them. And I think because of that, those kids know that I'm here for the right reasons, that I'm here for them. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that they're prepared on Saturday and ready to win this football game.
How do you plan on continuing kind of that personal relationship with each player that you have while also assuming more responsibilities at the head of the entire program?
Well, it's hard, especially in a span of 2 weeks. You know, usually if this was a year-long thing, you know, you have one-on-one meetings all the time with these guys. But for me, I've always been a type of person that I want to be there. I want you to see me. I want you to hear me. I want to be accessible to you. In the mornings when we get here for a typical Tuesday or Wednesday practice day, our guys are in the building at 6 o'clock. Well, I don't want to just be up in my office getting ready for practice. I want to be down there in the lobby while they're eating breakfast. I want to pop my head down into the training room and see how the guys are doing, whether they're getting their ankles taped or they're getting rehab. I want to pop in the locker room where they are. Shoot, man, that locker room is my locker room. I can still pick out my locker from where it was in that facility. I want to be in there and interact with those guys and just let them know that I'm one of them. I'm here for you. And I think when they feel that, when they see that, they know you're there for them. They know they can come to you with anything. So, you know, more so than getting with each guy one-on-one and talking with them, I just want to be there for them because they all have different things going on. And already since I've been in this position, I've had to talk to 2 or 3 guys about different situations. And so it's make yourself accessible. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Is this a role that you would consider or even want long-term?
Is that a serious question? Absolutely. My background, I grew up in Illinois. I was recruited to come here and play. I played for Bill Lynch, who was Kevin Lynch's father. I did not want to be a college football coach until I was coached by Bill Lynch. That man changed my life. And when I left here, the dream was to be back here as a head coach. So, as you can imagine, what I'm living right now is a little bit of that dream. I get to lead this team for 2 weeks. Like I said, it's not something I take lightly. I've seen where this program has been when I was being recruited, and they were MAC champions. They were the winningest program in this conference in the 1990s. And then I saw it at its lowest, right? And I saw how Coach Lynch led us when we were at our lowest, all right? Every coach I've ever played for, I take pieces of them and of who I want to be. I don't want to be them. I know who I want to be, but I take pieces of each coach that I've ever been around and say, this is what I like. This is what I want to do. This is what it should look like. So I always knew when I got this opportunity to do it myself, you take it, you run with it, you do it your way. But I always thought what an awesome opportunity it would be to do that right where I learned my passion for this game.
I had to ask, I didn't want to assume. But just with 2 games left,
Mm-hmm.
You know that bowl eligibility isn't really in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
What is your plan to make sure that these guys know that there is still something to play for?
Well, it starts with this Saturday, it's senior day. Anyone who straps on the pads and put on the jersey, the goal is to win. But senior day is special because it's a culmination for all the work that the seniors in your program have put together. Certainly now, in the age of the transfer portal, guys that have started their journey elsewhere and they found this as their home to finish their career. My goal is to see to it that they go out on the highest note possible, right? And that starts with getting a win here this Saturday on Senior Day. Do everything we can for those seniors. It's a message that I preach to the offensive line all year long. Every game, every opportunity we get to step on the field, you do it for your seniors because they've laid the foundation for every player within the program that comes before them. So the least we can do is lay it all on the line for them. That's my number one motivation. I want to see our seniors go out on a high note. And then obviously be a competitor, man, right? It's another opportunity to step on the field. And you never know who's watching, right? If you're a young player and Ball State may not be your forever home, someone's going to have to watch your tape and see how you play. If you're a sophomore, junior, and the next head coach that takes over this program, when he pops on the tape, what is he seeing from you? When you could say 2 games that didn't really matter, all right, how did you play? That's important, all right? Ultimately in college football, and certainly at all levels of football, certainly in the NFL, every rep of every game is important to your existence on the football field. So that's got to mean something. The way you represent yourself on the football field certainly means something. That should be motivation enough to go out there and play at the highest level.
You talked about how you want to address the players and stuff. How do you plan on addressing the staff and leading with them with the final 2 games?
You know, the staff is we have a phenomenal staff. They're great, man. They're great people of character, great fathers. You know, and certainly a lot of them have just come into the program this year, and we've kind of started this journey. The ones who've been here, Kevin Lynch, Corey Connolly, I mean, you watch the passion those guys put into. They're ball coaches. Obviously, Kevin coming from a coaching family, but Corey, the type of passion he brings to work every single day as our special teams coordinator and Russians coach, he's wired the right way as a coach. So I've got a lot of trust and faith in those two. Jared Elliott, one of the finest football coaches I've been around, one of the finest leaders of men himself. He's had a stint as a head coach himself, did phenomenal things when he was at Western Illinois. We were lucky to get him here as our tight ends coach and certainly now as the offensive coordinator. But I learned things from Jared every single day, from his football mind to the way he relates to players. So being around those guys, we have a motivated group. We have guys that coach the right way, do it the right way, pour all their time and effort into our kids. So, you know, I don't worry about coaching our coaches. Certainly, I'm there for them to, you know, help motivate them and all those things. But we've gone through so much together over the years. I know I can rely on them. I know our scheme is going to be sound. I know what we're going to do is going to get the players ready to play. So I feel very, very confident in that. The next step is to get the players confident to go out there and execute the scheme, right? Because it's nothing new that you're going to pull down to go out and execute a game plan or a scheme to beat Bowling Green. It's going to come down to how well we play, trust in each other, execute our job, tackle the football, block for the ball carrier, complete the passes, catch the passes. That's football. And we definitely have guys in our program that can do that. We've seen it at a high level at times throughout the year. All right, we just got to make sure these kids are motivated and they feel like we have faith in them to go out there and execute those plays like we need them to.
You talked about, you know, being at Ball State and having kind of Ball State be in your life for a big part of it. Just what does it mean for you, this university as a whole?
Well, it's like I mentioned, let me take a step back. When I was getting ready to leave high school, I went to a pretty good high school in Illinois, Providence Catholic, small nugget. Defensive coordinator Jeff Knowles and I went to the same high school. He was a senior when I was a freshman. I looked up to him when I was a young guy. We won 4 state championships in a row while I was there. And a small story, I'll never forget this. Going into my junior year, a lot of my friends were starting to take college visits. And I went to my mom and said, hey, should we start, you know, planning for college, taking college visits? And she looked me right in the eye and said, son, I hate to tell you this, but the only way you're going to be able to go to a college, a 4-year college, is if you earn a scholarship. Providence was a private school. She sent my brother, who was 2 years older than I, and myself through essentially, 6 years of, Catholic education. It was expensive. So right then, it kind of hit me, and it's not like I wasn't working hard before that, but right then it hit me, if I'm going to go to college, I got to make sure I get it done on the football field. Going into the last game of my senior year of high school, I had 0 scholarship offers. And back then, you didn't really get your offers until after you played your senior year, but certainly some guys had. And I was being very heavily recruited by a lot of FCS programs at the time, and certainly Ball State. Ball State saw me at a camp the year before, and, at the time they couldn't talk to us, but one of my coaches told me that Ball State really liked me. At the time, I had no idea where Ball State was. But through that recruiting process, not only did I fall in love with the coaches, I fell in love with this place. And I'll never forget my first time driving over on 332, coming from Illinois, and it was during December after my senior year, and snow was on the ground. It was snowing at the time we're driving in, and we pulled up to Tillotson, and from the distance you can see that Cardinal Head logo sitting above the stadium. And it was almost like it was calling me home. Like when my mom and I saw that, I almost committed there on the spot without anybody even talking to me. I knew this is where I wanted to be. We started that visit. I got to meet all the other guys on the team, the other recruits, certainly the rest of the coaches. And by the end of that visit, I knew this is where I wanted to be. One of the highlights of my life was sitting in that exit interview with Coach Lynch and telling me that I had a scholarship opportunity to come to Ball State, and I committed on the spot. That's how strongly I felt from what I experienced in that short period of time. Certainly when I got here as a player, when you're a freshman, you guys all know your freshman year of college, you have no idea what's going on. And certainly no different for me. I had questions on whether or not I belonged, if I was truly a Division I football player. And the experiences that I went through with the guys on this team that helped me learn how to be an athlete, a college football athlete, short of a pro. Some of those guys are still friends of mine to this day. Being able to meet people on campus. We all know this campus. We love this campus. It's such a tight-knit community for a school of 19,000 people. I met all my best friends on this campus. I met my wife on this campus. My mother-in-law, her mom, graduated from Ball State. So this place means so much more to me than someone who sees it as a job opportunity. I'm ingrained in this place. I would do anything and everything for this place. It was so special to be able to share the years I had with Mike New, who also was a Ball State graduate. So for me, yeah, it means a little bit more. My time here, being back here, we've enjoyed it. My family, my kids are all in on Ball State. It's special to us.
Yes, if you could tell fans, what should they expect out of you in the final 2 games?
My all. Expect my all. Expect me to give everything to this place, to this program, to these kids, to these coaches, as what was given to me. I grew up a lot while I was here, right? I grew up a lot. And I don't know if I would have been the same person I am today someplace else. I owe it to this community to give my all. Sometimes your all is not enough. I get that, right? Not to sit here and say any other coach that came before me didn't give it their all. But I'll tell you this, when we get this win on Saturday, it's going to feel a whole heck of a lot better than what a lot of coaches feel when they win on Saturday. Because it's different. It's different.
Does it feel different to, not to dwell on the past, but as an assistant coach even, when you guys lose, does it feel even stronger then as well? Like you said, it feels different when you win?
No, because you have to pick up the pieces for the kids, for the players. When you coach, you have to be able to help them understand what it was, the few plays or many plays in the game that, caused that breakdown to happen. So, you can't dwell on how it feels because you're an alum, right? You have to be a coach first and lead those men. But I'll tell you this, 2020, when we won the MAC championship, yeah, it felt a whole lot different. It felt a whole lot different to be a part of this program that hadn't won a MAC championship in so long, that hadn't ever won a bowl game, and we won our first. That to me was history made. That history felt better than any other win, any other place I've ever been. And I've got a chance to coach in some pretty cool games. I've got to coach in the bucket game, won the old Oaken bucket. I've got to coach in the Bell game, won the Monon Bell. But to win that MAC championship and that Arizona Bowl championship, the best I've ever been a part of.
What was your honest assessment of what went wrong against Buffalo last week?
Honest assessment, we didn't make plays down the stretch. When you play in this conference, in this league, I will tell you this, there's been times where Ball State in this league was not always in fourth quarter games. The game was over by halftime. Since I've been here, I could count on my hand how many times. And typically they're Power 4 games. But in this conference, we've been in every single game in the fourth quarter, right? And typically in the fourth quarter, you have to make plays. Our last drive where we had the football in regulation, we had 3 opportunities to come down with the football, and we just didn't get that done. And those kids know that, right? You watch the tape. They watch what they did and how they came out of the route, or when the ball hit their hands. They know what they did wrong, right? But consistency is important. I like to use the analogy that in baseball, the difference between a great player and a Hall of Famer is 3 hits, right? And certainly as a pitcher, consistency as a pitcher is everything. Nolan Ryan is arguably the greatest pitcher to ever pitch in baseball. He did it for such a long time and was consistently dominant. So if you want to be great in athletics, you have to be consistent. You can't do it for 3 quarters and disappear in a fourth. That's the bottom line. And in that last drive, we did not show up where we needed to in the fourth quarter. And ultimately, that's where it went wrong.
I guess if you look at Saturday against Bowling Green, what are some key points you'd like to see on the field?
I want to see guys play their hearts out. I want to see guys play together. I want to see us execute the game plans. Our coaches put together a great game plan. And from the offensive line to the quarterback to the receivers to the D-line, certainly to the DBs and linebackers. I want to see them all, from the special teams units, execute the game plan, right? It's a simple game, man, right? We block, we tackle, we get the ball down, we get the ball in the end zone, right? If we do that better than the other team, score more points, we win. So that's the focus. We have to do that. How do you go about doing that? You drill it in practice, right? You can't let mediocre plays that happen in practice continue to show up on Saturday, right? You address it now, you coach it hard, right? You do it again, right? And hopefully that sticks. But there's got to be some level of consistency, not only from me, from our coaches, from our players, right, from this week to make sure that we're prepared to play on Saturday. I'm a big believer in that. If production is directly resulted to your consistency. And if we want to be productive on Saturday, we got to be consistent players.
You said that you kind of take away some things from every coach you coached with or played for. Mm-hmm. What's one thing from Mike New you can take away for what you do now?
His passion. The guy is, he is a passionate coach. He wears his heart on his sleeve. And I think that's important to show people how important things are to you. He and I are alike from our shared experiences. He and I are different in a lot of ways. But I will always take, he was not short on passion in everything. He was passionate about his family. He was passionate about his kids. He was passionate about this place and this team. And I think that's something that I will always remember him for and thank him for. He has a brilliant offensive mind. And, you can't help but have one when you get to coach and be around one of the greatest quarterbacks ever in the NFL. And that, I think, I had so much to learn from being here. Honestly, I've probably been involved in more game plan from the passing game standpoint here than I ever have in my career at other places. Just when you're an O-line coach, you typically focus on the run game, and certainly my title was a run game coordinator. But to sit in there and listen to him, Kevin, and Jarrett talk about pass game, and what they're trying to attack and where we can find the differences in certain routes and matchups. Those type of things I take with me to the next step. He's unique in the fact that he's got to do it at the college level as a quarterback. He's got to do it a little bit as a semi-pro quarterback, as a arena football player, but certainly to be able to coach those guys at the pro level and see how it's done. His background, his extensive knowledge is unmatched. So I will always take that with me.
You talked earlier about the kind of the emotional moment of Marty the news. How have you seen so far the players kind of process that and carry themselves?
It's funny. I was talking with Jeff the other day. Players are very resilient. You know, you kind of tend to forget about their experiences before they get to Ball State. But all these guys, they come from a different background. They've all dealt with different things, from loss to joy to, you know, winning championships, losing championships. So these young men, the reason they're here, they were recruited here because they were great leaders and great players at their own respective communities. And I think that's something that they've learned over time, that resiliency is important. By all means, it doesn't mean that they're not upset or sad or, you know, happy or joyous about what happened. But, you know, we talked about it. We met here. Coach got a chance to address them. I told each man in here, when you leave here, make sure you thank Coach New for the opportunity, because none of us would be here if it wasn't for him. But then Sunday we were going to take the field and we are going to go to work and get to work with practice. And I think when you get a chance to get on the field, you get a chance to flush a lot of the emotions that, you know, go on in your day. That's the beauty of sports. As a person, you're not immune to all the things that go on around us, but we actually have a gateway to let some of that emotion, some of that anger, some of that aggression out once we get out in the practice field. And it was a great practice, and I think those guys needed that. I think they needed to be around each other, get back to their routine, and play football.
What was it like for you leading those men in your first practice
It was different because I wanted to be there for the offensive line, which are my guys, but at the same time I wanted to be there for the team. I felt it was important that I led the final O-line individual with them before we transitioned to, you know, me. It was a shorter practice. It was about an hour and 20 minutes, and it was really focused on, you know, developmental work, young guys, and special teams. So it was a big chunk of individual that we got a chance to do. So instead of me walking around and judging everybody's individual, I spent the time with the O-line and got a chance to work with them and pour into them one more time. Moving forward, I'm probably going to pass that to Paxton Cottrell, our offensive line GA, who I have a lot of faith in. He's going to do a great job, but that's going to free me up to be able to, you know, be around for everyone else. And believe me, like I said, I'm not going around to watch every coach and what they're doing. I want to be there for the kids. I want to be there to encourage the kids to do it right, strain for excellence, right, and let's get better this week.
You talked about the O-line guys being your guys. What was their reaction to their guy being named head coach?
You know, in our room, we don't make a big deal about a lot of things because the work we do is always in the shadows. And certainly after, you know, we told the team that I would be interim head coach, when they were breaking, they were getting ready to walk out to say thank you to Coach New. It was incredible. Every single player in this room gave me a hug. I felt like I was down here for half hour just giving out hugs. But all the guys in the room came up to me and gave me a hug and said, "I'm so happy for you, Coach," or "I love you, Coach," or "Let's get this done, Coach." You know, it meant a lot. But when I went in the meeting room Sunday morning with them, it was business as usual. And that's what I love about those guys. I like to think a little bit of me have rubbed off on them, but more so than anything, a lot of them have rubbed off on me because I know what makes them tick, and I know exactly what buttons to push to coach them. So it's going to be tough, not just being their coach here, but it also is very, very gratifying to be able to be everybody's coach, at least for the next 2 weeks.
When every single player comes down here, gives you a hug, says something to you, did that kind of further cement your feeling of, okay, I do belong and I do earn
Sure.
this spot?
Sure. It'd be one thing if a lot of guys walked up and walked out that back door without coming down here. But no, every man came down and gave me a hug, and you can't help but feel that love. Obviously it's a natural human emotion that we all seek, is to be loved and appreciated. And I feel like, and I've never walked through these halls thinking that there was a player on this team that didn't believe in me, but that certainly went a long way to showing me that, yeah, these guys are with me.
Anything else? Coach mentioned 30 minutes a moment ago. Here's 30 minutes. Real good.
Pretty good.
Coach Johnson, thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Here I thought I came all prepared with my Bowling Green material, thinking I was going to get asked about that, and it was almost a tearjerker. But I appreciate you guys. It's great meeting you guys.